Good morning. Happy first Saturday in March. Welcome back to Bite Size Virtues. I just want to hone in on that name. So when we were trying to decide if this was something I was supposed to do, if this is what the Lord was asking me to do, I'm like, well, I don't what do I name it? Like, not modeling womanhood after, my husband's is modeling manhood. I'm like, I don't know. And I thought, well, there's the virtuous woman, which I don't live up to, but wouldn't it be nice if we could just take bite-size little virtues that we talk about? And so today, like the food we eat, bringing health to our bodies, taking bites of these little virtues that the Lord puts on our heart. I made a list this week, and these are some of the ones that I'd like to talk about: love, courage, kindness, humility, faithfulness, generosity, hope, faith, patience, charity, compassion, knowledge, honesty, respect, temperance, chastity, prudence, modesty, peace, perseverance, grace, gentleness, self-control, joy, goodness, wisdom, thankfulness, and gratitude, contentment. So throughout this year, I want to, as I can, pull one of those in. So today I want to share a little bit about, I ran into my aunt and uncle this week, and they were talking about how it's fun to get to know Isaac a little better. And I thought, you know what, I don't really share a ton of personal stuff, and maybe that's something that would benefit others. I know when I read a book, when someone shares part of their story, I really feel like I get more out of that. So back when I was 15, in 1996, in the spring, my mom started to have headaches. And one morning, after a night of her being very sick, I remember laying next to her upstairs, and she asked me to take her downstairs. So I walked in front of her because she was very weak. She hadn't been eating. She put her hands on my shoulders, and we walked down the stairs, and I woke my sister up, and I told her, Mom's down here with you. I'm going up to bed. I was off from school. It was that week between Easter and whatever, and that we had off. And so I think it was a Tuesday or Wednesday. I can't remember. It was in the middle of the week. And the next morning, my dad woke me up, and he goes, I don't want you to be scared, but there's an ambulance coming. We can't wake Mom up. So my dad and my sister went by ambulance with my mom, and my aunt, Joanne, took me to her house to wait and find out what was going on. Well, when they found what was wrong with my mom, she had a very rapid growing brain tumor called a glioblastoma multiforme that grew very, very quickly, the size of a grapefruit, and in her head. And so they gave my dad and my sister 30 minutes to decide what to do. So they did decide to do surgery. My mom really came through this surgery very well, but she battled cancer for almost 2 years, and then she passed away. And in that time where she battled, as they started to realize this is something that she was not going to be able to beat, everyone was willing to accept that but me. When people tried to tell me that, I wouldn't listen, because I felt like if I believed enough, I could save her. And that's something that I struggled with for a very long time. I mean, the morning that she passed away, I went and fell asleep in the other room thinking she was going to be like Lazarus, that he would bring her back. But through all this hardship, God has put other women in my life that I don't know what I would do without. I miss my mom. I wish she could see my kids. She's never met a grandchild. She was only there for one of our weddings. Like, there's a lot of things I could be bitter about through all of this. And I really miss her. She's been gone more of my life than she was ever here. I'm 43. She died when I was 17. So I could be bitter. I could be frustrated. I could be angry. I could walk around with a chip on my shoulder. And there are so many times that I wish I could ask her something that I can't. But I have a whole slew of women God has put in my life. To name a few, my sister, Emily, this wonderful woman from my church, Rose, my friend Jackie, that my brother introduced me to at a really hard time in my life, and she's been a huge asset in my life, my Aunt Mary Ann. Several of my aunts have been there through really hard times. My friend Joanne, man, I went to her house all the time after my mom passed away and spent the night because I just needed a normal family life for a little while. And she had kids my age. We'd sit down, eat dinner. I was always spatting with her son, and I felt like it was normal. I think Joanne was a piece of normal in my life at that time. God knew, He knew what I needed, and I'm gonna miss people, but my stepmom, I called her when I was in labor for my first son because I didn't know, and I knew she was the only one who was up at 4 a.m. So, like, and then the one I want to share with you today is my neighbor Sandra. I mean, and there are so many more women who God has put in my life that I'm not mentioning, but my neighbor Sandra gave me a glimpse into how much God really knew my need a few years ago when we noticed that there was nobody tapping her trees up the road a mile. And my husband's like, oh, that's so close. We could do that. That would be super fun. Get us out of the house. Like, I have a hard time between January and April. Like, I just get down and it's just hard to be stuck in the house. And so we talked to them. They're like, yeah, you can tap our trees. Well, that started a relationship with them that has grown for them to be a blessing because all of their grandkids are far away. And for me has been like amazing because last minute, if your husband falls really bad and you need to take him to the emergency room, like, who do you call to take care of your 6 children when you know you're going to be spending the night in the emergency room? Like, they were like, yeah, we got a bed for every one of them, bring them over, just they've made meals for our family of 8, which is not common to have people for the space to have 8 people over, or the interest to have 5 boys running around your house, or the ability to just sit at a meal and just let kids be kids. I am so thankful amidst the hardship of losing my mom at such a young age. I am so, so, so thankful to the Lord for providing my need in greater quantities than I ever could have expected. So I'm going to share with you a verse He put on my heart, which is not the typical thankful verse. It's 2 Corinthians 9, verse 10. He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for your food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. I can't tell you how many times in my life when I just was really missing my mom that the Lord would have a friend of mine send me a letter. My friend Rose, my mom's name was Rose. Rose isn't just a huge asset to my family. She remembers my kids on their birthdays. Her and my son are pen pals. They write back and forth. And I remember the first year we had really developed a friendship with her at church. She sent us a Christmas card and it said, "Love, Grandma Rose." And I cried. Not because she was replacing my mom, but because God knew I missed my mom. And for Him to physically give me something that had a reminder that He will give me what I need might look a little different. And it probably will be an overflowing amount of goodness for both me and the person doing it for me, because I trust Him and I love Him. And I know that He's good no matter how bad it seems. To be thankful in those moments is huge. I'm going to share a few more verses the Lord put on my heart today that you can look up if you'd like with thankfulness. 1 Chronicles 16:34, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. His steadfast love endures forever. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, and give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. Psalm 4:7, you have put more joy in my heart than they have when grain and wine abounds. And Ephesians 5:20, give thanks always for everything. The Psalm 4:7, you have put more joy in my heart than they have when grain and wine abound. We've all been through times where it's been slim and times when there's been plenty. We think of the story of Joseph, 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And I'm just, please be thankful. Even when you feel like you're in a famine, when He provides you those morsels, be thankful, because He is the supplier of the joy in our life. This didn't pan out the way that I thought it would. And I'm sorry for getting super emotional. Remembering what I lost is hard. but what he has given me, not to replace it, but know that my life will forever be different not having her. Your route changes, the weather changes, what you need on that new road changes, and he is the provider of that. So as you chew on the virtue of thankfulness this week, I encourage you to write a list of things you're thankful for. When you are thankful, your whole attitude changes. So I just encourage you to be thankful, to find things to be thankful for this week, to look back at your life and see how God has interwoven these difficult times to make a gorgeous patchwork of your life and how he's drawn you closer to him through it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Remember, take the burdens, the overwhelming burdens you have, and put them on the shoulders of the only one who can bear it for you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.